Ladies and gentlemen, welcome from Taipei. Welcome to the 2025 Asia-Pacific SDG Summit, hosted by the Taiwan Institute for Sustainable Energy, also known as TICE. My name is Sydney Tai, and I'm honored to be your host tonight. Today, we've gathered sustainability experts and leaders from across our region to share their sustainability stories and solutions in achieving the UN Sustainable Development Goals, or the SDGs. We will start by exploring sustainability trends in our region before diving into today's key focus, the Asia-Pacific Sustainability Action Awards, also known as APSAA. Now in its fourth year, the APSAA celebrates sustainability pioneers in our region across all sectors, from business to government to academia, with hundreds of past participants and growing global recognition. You'll hear inspiring success stories from past winners and also learn more about the award itself and its application process. Please save all questions for the Q&A at the end. Now, join me in welcoming Dr. Eugene Qian, Chairman of TICE, for his opening remarks.
Dr. Mujahid Barak, Mr. Donald Eubank, Mr. Tatushiro Takiguchi, Ms. Denise Lee, Ms. Renee Huang, distinguished leaders and changemakers from Asia-Pacific and beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I'm Eugene Qian, Chairman of the Taiwan Institute for Sustainable Energy, also known as TICE. It is my great honor to welcome you to the 2025 Asia-Pacific Sustainable Development Goals Summit, both here and in Taipei and online. Since the launch of the SDGs in 2015, countries around the world have been working to build a better, more sustainable future. TICE supports that global vision through policy, education, and collaboration in Taiwan. The Asia-Pacific region is diverse and dynamic. While we face major challenges, from climate change to social inequality, we also see extraordinary innovation and progress. Taiwan, for example, now has 34 companies listed on the Dow Jones Sustainability Index World Class, which is more than 10%. Although Taiwan accounts for only 0.7% of the global GDP, it stands out, representing an impressive 9% share in S&P Global Sustainability Yearbook 2025 ranking. This reflects our growing role in the international ESG landscape and our shared regional commitment to sustainable development. To celebrate these efforts, TICE launched the Asia-Pacific Sustainable Action Awards, which is APSAA award. Over the past 3 years, we have been recognized more than 300 initiatives from over 10 countries, honoring impactful work in government, business, and civil society. This year, we are proud to present 3 awards for Sustainability Action, Most Livable City, and Outstanding Chief Sustainability Officer. These awards highlight the power of the leadership and collaboration in driving change. Today's summit is a platform for exchange. I encourage you to take this opportunity to connect, share, and build lasting partnership. And if your organization is making a difference I warmly welcome you to apply for this year's APSA Award. Thank you for your commitment to a more inclusive and sustainable Asia-Pacific. I wish you a meaningful summit and a successful conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Eugene Tian, for your opening remarks. We will now proceed to a video introducing the APSAA. Good afternoon or good evening. Wherever you're joining us from, a very warm welcome from all of us here in Taipei. I'm thrilled to introduce the Asia-Pacific Sustainability Action Award, or APSAA. Today, I will introduce the purpose and value of the award, our three main categories, what makes a strong application, and finally, share some inspiring highlights from last year. In 2015, the United Nations took an important step forward. They introduced the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, a global roadmap of 17 Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, to build a better future for people and the planet. Since then, the Taiwan Institute for Sustainable Energy, or TICE, has worked tirelessly to advance these goals across the Asia-Pacific by raising awareness and driving meaningful action. Now in its fourth year, APSAA celebrates the changemakers, organizations, cities, and individuals who are putting sustainable ideas into action. Their projects are not only innovative and impactful, but also serve as models for others striving to make a difference. Why apply for APSAA? It's a chance to showcase your impact and share your SDG initiatives on an international stage. It helps you benchmark your performance, learn from peers, and connect with leaders across sectors. It's also an opportunity to expand your network, forming meaningful partnerships to influence regional progress, and ultimately play a part in the global movement to achieve the UN's 17 SDGs. Applications for APSAA are already open and will close on June 30th, 2025. Winners will be notified in mid-August via email and recognized at the SDG Asia Expo in Taipei this September. Now let's take a look at the three award categories. First is the Sustainability Action Award, which includes three subcategories: environmental sustainability, social inclusion, and economic development. Second is the Most Livable City Excellence Award. And third is the Outstanding Chief Sustainability Officer Award. We welcome applications from a wide range of changemakers in our region: private companies, city governments, public agencies, universities, hospitals, and NGOs, all of whom share a common mission of advancing SDGs through action and innovation. Each award has a registration fee of $900. For each Sustainability Action Award, there is an additional $400 entry fee. You only pay the registration fee once, no matter how many awards you apply for. The other two awards have no additional evaluation fee. Now let's dive into the details of each award, starting with the Sustainability Action Award. This award recognizes standout initiatives across environmental sustainability, social inclusion, and economic development. Competitive applicants show clear goals, measurable outcomes, and scalable practices that others can adopt. Applicants may submit up to 3 applications per subcategory, with a maximum of 9 submissions total. Submissions must include the project name, overview, performance summary with supporting documents, project description with supporting documents, resources used, a representative photo, and a 3-minute video outlining the project. Projects should focus on the 2022 to 2024 timeframe, and previous applicants should use current year data only. Winners will be divided into gold, silver, and bronze, and judged based on 5 criteria: initiative, SDGs competencies, approach, social impact, and scalability. Next, the Most Livable City Excellence Award honors city governments that are creating inclusive, safe, and sustainable communities aligned with SDG 11. This award recognizes exemplary governance, resilience, cultural vitality, and smart planning for inclusive communities. Only city governments are eligible to apply. Required materials for this award include the project name, project overview, performance details, and supporting documentation, and a photo. The time period must focus on 2024. Additional credit will be awarded to applications that include the Voluntary Local Review Report in English. Winners of the Most Livable City Excellence Award will be recognized as either outstanding or excellent, based on the following set of evaluation dimensions. These include urbanization, disaster damage reduction, effective transportation systems, environmental impact, access to affordable housing, cultural and heritage preservation, development of green spaces, voluntary local review reports, and climate action performance. Finally, the Outstanding CSO Award honors leaders who have successfully embedded sustainability into their organization's operations and culture. This award is by nomination only and open to chief sustainability officers or equivalent leaders in the public sector, private sector, or academia. To nominate a CSO, the recommending organization must submit their own information as well as their nomination rationale. Nominations must include basic information about the candidate, a portrait photo, a sustainability performance statement, and supporting documentation of their achievements. Nominees must be aware that they've been nominated and can only win once every 3 years. Judging for this award focuses on 4 criteria: the specificity, significance, social influence, and persistence of their contributions. For all 3 awards, the key to crafting the strongest application possible is to use the evaluation dimensions provided for your selected award to guide every aspect of your submission, both written and multimedia. A strong application is clearly organized by these dimensions, with each section labeled and fully addressed through your written content. Supporting documents, photos, and videos, when applicable, should be thoughtfully chosen to reinforce and illustrate these evaluation dimensions. Ultimately, your application should tell a compelling and well-rounded story of your sustainability impact. To apply for the APSAA, first register as a TCSA member. Then, select the awards you wish to enter in to calculate your total participation fee and remit your payment to TCSA. Upon our verification of payment, the submission portal for uploading your materials will be activated. The deadline for all submissions to APSAA is June 30th, 2025. Here at APSAA, we are proud to celebrate the pioneers, ranging from companies, cities, institutions, and individuals, who are all moving the world closer to the SDGs. We can't wait to see what this year brings for APSAA. But first, let's take a look at the highlights from last year. We warmly invite you to join us at the 2025 SDG Asia Expo in September in Taipei, one of the region's largest sustainability expos, where APSAA winners will be celebrated and leading sustainability voices will come together to drive meaningful change. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing your APSAA applications. Welcome back. We hope this introduction was informative and inspires you to apply to APSAA. Please feel free to scan the QR codes on screen to begin your application or share this opportunity with your colleagues. We will now take a short break and resume at 18:25 Taiwan time. Welcome back from the break, everyone. It's now time to hear from our past award winners. A quick reminder that should any questions come up during the duration of the summit, please feel free to send them into the YouTube Q&A. Now, please join me in giving a warm welcome to your moderator today, Dr. Mujahid Bayrak, joining us from National Taiwan Normal University. He's an associate professor of geography and also serves as a distinguished member on our APSA judging panel. I know Dr. Bayrak will bring his wealth of insight and dynamic, diverse perspectives to today's conversation. Welcome, Dr. Bayrak, and the stage is yours.
Dear all, good evening, everyone. Good afternoon or good morning, wherever you are at the moment. Thank you very much for the introduction, Ms. Sydney. As she said, my name is Mujahid Bayrak. I'm an associate professor at the Department of Geography. And today it's a true honor and true pleasure to moderate today's session. We are gathered here today because of a shared commitment, and that transcends borders, sectors, and individual interests. The Sustainable Development Goals, or the SDGs, represent the world's first truly comprehensive and interconnected framework for achieving a sustainable future. With 17 goals and 169 targets, the SDGs are not just about development, they're about transforming the way we think, act, and interact with each other and with the planet. What makes the SDGs truly great is that they are universal. They apply to every nation, every community, and every business, as well as every individual. In that sense, the SDGs are a call to collective responsibility and shared action. Over the past few years, I have had the privilege of being involved with the Asia-Pacific Sustainability Action Awards, or APSA, in various capacities. Most recently, in 2024, I served as a judge for two important categories: the Livable and Sustainable City Award and the Global Sustainability Corporate Awards. Prior to that, in 2022, I also evaluated entries for the Sustainable Action Awards. The APSA was established with a clear mission, and I believe it is worth revisiting its core objectives today. That is to promote the SDGs, to raise awareness of innovative and impactful sustainability initiatives among enterprises, governments, and civil society across the Asia-Pacific region, to recognize and celebrate outstanding sustainability action plans and projects across sectors, to foster collaboration and partnership across very diverse stakeholders, whether that's governments, civil society organizations, or companies, and finally, to strengthen stakeholders' engagement and build a shared vision for sustainable development that leaves no one behind. As a geography professor, I was particularly interested to see different cases, different proposals, different examples of how cities, companies, and so on were trying to achieve the SDGs within a very specific context. When I was a judge for the Livable and Sustainable City Awards, we looked at various aspects like inclusive sustainable urbanization, preservation of cultural and natural heritage, and publication of voluntary local review reports. I'm particularly excited that we will have a talk later today on Kitakyushu. I will be visiting you in July, so perhaps we can meet. For the Best Practice Awards, we looked at strategies and objectives. We looked at impact, effectiveness, and continuity, and performance and leaderships. But look, these awards are not just about recognition. They are about inspiration. They help share a spotlight on companies, cities, governments, universities, and so many other stakeholders that are taking meaningful, measurable, and replicable steps towards sustainability. But today, I also want to offer a reminder. While awards and recognitions are important, they should never be the end goal. Sustainability is not a checklist that you can just check off. It is not a marketing slogan. It's not something we pursue to enhance our image or win prizes. True sustainability is a long-term commitment. It is a lifestyle, a business model, a governance principle, and a moral obligation. More importantly, we need structural change. We are not there yet, not even in the slightest. We must understand that profit cannot come at the expense of people and planet. Economic success should only follow social equity, environmental responsibility, and ethical governance. As individuals and organizations, we have a profound responsibility not just to talk about sustainability, but to act sustainably, to lead by example, and to live those values in every decision that we make. And we must not do this just to receive an applause, not for advertisement, not for accolades, but to create a better world. I might be a bit naive, but that's how I see sustainability, going towards a better world. And I think all of you share a responsibility in that. A world that is fairer, greener, and more resilient. More just, where no child has to suffer. A world where future generations, my children, your children, and the children of the world can thrive. Thank you very much, and I look forward to a rich and inspiring dialogue today. Now, after my opening remarks, I serve the role as a moderator today, and we have 4 talks lined up for you today. The first talk is given by Ms. Renee Huang, and the title of Ms. Huang's speech is A Cemetery Land Reborn for Inclusivity and Green Power. So please join me and give a digital applause to Ms. Renee Huang and her talk. Thank you very much.
And this is Renee Huang from Formosa Solar. I'm honored to be here sharing with you our experience on applying for APSA. So let me quickly share my screen with you. So I'm just want to make sure as everybody can see my screen. Or I need to share again. Okay, sorry for the some technical problems. I will do it again. So it should be okay by now. So is that okay? Okay, I think you may you can see my screen now. Our project is a cemetery land reborn with inclusivity and green power. Okay, let me quickly introduce ourselves. Formosa Solar is a solar power platform established by Partners Group to invest in the solar PV business in Taiwan. And you can see our profile. We have over 500 project sites all over Taiwan, and the total capacity is over 200 megawatt. And you can see our numbers of household electricity supplied. And we have the project all over Taiwan. For the track records, we have ground mount PV project. Most of them are in South Taiwan, like we have Chiayi Salt Land and Yunlin, and many of our projects are in Pingtung. And one of our biggest project is in Pingtung, Kaohsiung. As well as we have a lot of rooftop PV project, like we have some project on companies' factories and on schools' rooftop. And now we've entered the fishing projects by now. So you can see the right-hand side down is the fishing project we have just finished in Kaohsiung Yong'an. Okay, so talking about the project we have applied last year is cemeteries transform. Beijing Southern Sports Park is located on the former grounds of Pingtung Public Cemetery, an ancient graveyard which dates back to almost 100 years ago. In December 2016, Pingtung City Office conducted the relocation of the cemetery, and a new building for the Pingtung City Cleaning Squad was built on a portion of the former cemetery grounds, while the remainder was opened to public bidding by Pingtung County government. Formosa Solar carries out this project to achieve the double goal of fostering local development and realizing social inclusion. After discussions and design revisions many times, we decided to reduce the power generation installation capacity, but focusing on cityscape enhancement and convenience of public use. This project prioritizes convenience and leisure options for the public. The original NIMBY facility has been successfully converted into green energy installation. This place used to be a blind spot, and residents refused to go, especially at night. Now it has transformed as a green space for local communities. So you can see the left-hand side was before the construction, right-hand side is current look. A human-centered concept has been adopted to transform this former graveyard into a true space for all. The presence of facilities are suitable for a wider range of social groups. Thus, the project features facilities that take account of shared fun experiences for the whole family, entertainment, and interactions between young and old, and the needs of children and teenagers. For example, the playground for children, fitness area for adults, walking trail for elders, and outdoor recreational area for all. The design concept ensures easy and convenient access to the park area for everyone. The entrance and exit area and paths of the project area have therefore been designed in consideration of the specific needs of different user groups. This includes avoidance of ground height differences to ensure smooth access to the park without threshold for wheelchair users. Accessible restrooms and rest areas are also available to meet the needs of users with special needs. Before the construction, we conducted a consensus meeting to understand the needs of residents. In the process of discussions and engagement, we took the initiative of building mutual trust and partnerships with government departments, community representatives, and local groups. For instance, our team assisted residents in creating access roads during the construction process to make them more convenient. We have preserved the worship areas for the unnamed souls of the deceased and the Bayan god on the original cemetery grounds. We engaged a landscape architect to redesign the area in line with existing landscape features and thereby demonstrate our concern for community culture and shared memories of community residents. Beijing Solar Sports Park is the first social inclusion-oriented multifunctional PV park in Taiwan on the former grounds of a relocated public cemetery. This site transcends generational, cultural, temporal, and spatial limitations in addition to manifesting the diversity of community culture. Now I would like to share a video of famous sports YouTuber Ryder Pan who came to the park. Sorry for that, some technical problems that our video has no sounds. So we're now just stop sharing the screen and we'll share the screen again. Sorry, we will play this video again.
没有那么多地方可以打网球，然后这边还有排球场。那刚才讲到，其实我们现在下午，既然已经有人在那边打球了。刚跟 Joe 一起打，但是我有一个问题想问你，因为这边有一个谣言哦，就是说，这个光电板这样下面打球，是不是会巨热，特别热？
其实基本上我们自己常在打球就知道了，如果没有像这样子一个光电板有一个屋顶遮阴的一个效果，在平常在大太阳下面打球，大家根本球都还没打就已经满头大汗啦，汗流雨下。可是在这边的这个光电球场下面打，其实完全不会有这样的感觉，因为光电球场它本身有屋顶的遮阴，在下面就像在大树下打球的那种感觉，非常的阴凉。
风雨球场啊。
对对对，像一般学校的这个风雨球场一样。这个非常的阴凉，而且没有那种体育馆里面的这种闷热的感觉，它是非常的一个通风的。如果没有这个光电屋顶平常可能在大太阳底下我们只能打1个小时，但是有这个光电屋顶我们觉得我们再打2-3个小时都没有问题了。同学们，我们等一下再来一场。
好，听说晚上呢，这个屏东呢也会高手呢晚上才会到，我晚上再挑战好了。我们这场是中间场，就是比较多年轻人。其实另外一场呢也有小朋友啊，然后大人，就是大家一起跟这个光电场共融的感觉，是一种大家的好邻居，就是大家都来这边。那其实除了篮球场以外，我发现更多的是排球场，超多人。按排球场感觉比篮球场人还多，所以来这边打球，那个凉风吹过来，还蛮舒服的。那这里呢，这个球场呢，现在是由屏东县发展中心管理哦，就希望呢能够打破太阳能这个大家会觉得比较遥远的界限，然后让大家可以一起来这边运动。那我差不多打2个小时，等下休息一下。还想看我去哪里球站，欢迎留言给我。那喜欢频道记得订阅频道，追踪我的 IG， 我们上线哪里都可以哦，全台湾、全世界哪里都可以哦。再见，拜拜。
Okay, so it is hard to imagine that this place was a cemetery where people refused to go, now transformed as a popular place even at night. Okay, so in this project, we carried out SDG 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities. We have converted the former site of Pingtung Public Cemetery into a PV park based on the concept of multifunctional land use and combination of PV project site functions and leisure facilities for local communities. The multifunctional leisure activity environment with diverse facilities serves as a safe, inclusive, accessible, and green public space for community residents. The goal is to give the urban landscape a brand new look. We carried out SDG 10. We have successfully turned Beijing Solar Sports Park into a leisure and recreational site for local communities by equity, inclusion, and respect to foster local development and achieve the goal of inclusive communities. The goal is to provide community members with a comfortable and friendly environment, regardless of age, gender, and economic status. Limitations and differences between groups and generations are transcended through a shared space concept. We carry out SDG 7, affordable and clean energy. Beijing Sports Park, the first urban PV park in Taiwan on the former grounds of a relocated public cemetery, is a perfect example of activation and revitalization of public land with simultaneously emphasis on the promotion of the green energy industry and excellent exercise and recreational facilities for the public. Okay, so this is the collection of news coverages and Google remark. This PV project site, which transcends conventional design concepts, has attracted wide media attention and earned high praise from community residents. Okay, so it shares some tips and reflections on organizing award materials. First will be outline project actions and outcomes with a clear structure, include background actions, results, and future plans. Highlight quantitative data and impact to strengthen credibility. Focused on project highlights and innovations. Avoid vague descriptions. Align with the UN SDG, of course, and explain concrete contributions. Use charts and visuals to enhance the presentation. Leverage third-party certifications or stakeholder feedback for added trust. If the project spans many years, illustrate growth and progress over time. Okay, so this is my sharing. Thank you for your time. I hope it helps. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Renee Huang, for your inspiring talk, and we will leave the questions for Q&A towards the end of the summit. Thank you very much. Now I would like to introduce the next distinguished guest, Mr. Tatushiro Takiguchi, and he will be giving a talk entitled Balancing Act, Kitakyushu's Visionary Quest to Embrace Forward-Leading Values and Unity between the environment, economy, and society. Please join me for giving a digital applause to Mr. Takiguchi, and we look forward to your talk.
Okay. こちらですよね。そうそうそう。JEO 新当事長、皆様こんばんは、北九州市、国際政策課の滝口です。
Good evening, everyone. I am Tatushiro Takiguchi, Director of the International Policy Division and Policy Management Bureau of Kitakyushu City Government.
昨年は、住み続けられる、持続可能都市賞の、最高賞に、選出をいただきまして大変に光栄に感じております。
Last year, the city of Kitakyushu won the title of Outstanding City Prize in the Most Livable City Excellent Award. We are very honored to have been selected.
また本日はこのような貴重な場で北九州市を紹介をする機会をいただきまして、厚くお礼を申し上げます。
I would like to thank you for the opportunity to introduce Kitakyushu City today at this valuable forum.
昨年の受賞以来、北九州市は世界をリードするサステナビリティシティへもう一歩進めていきたいという思いをさらに強めております。
Since receiving the award last year, our city has been working to become a world-leading sustainable city. We are even more eager to take another step forward toward this mission.
北九州市が、環境先進都市であるということは、我々市民にとって、誇りであります、そして、アイデンティティでもあります。
We, the citizens of Kitakyushu, are very proud that the identity of our city is that of an environmentally advanced city.
この素晴らしいベースを生かしながら、世界の現況やトレンドに着目いたしまして、環境分野のみならず、地域社会、ひいては社会全体を捉えた多角的なサステナビティシティへのキックオフを始めたところであります。
While utilizing this identity as our foundation, in addition to paying attention to the current situations and trends of the world, our city continues to develop and promote the environmental field, as well as local communities and societies as a whole. This is just the beginning of our city's journey as a multifaceted sustainable city.
それでは北九州市の取り組みをご紹介させていただきます。
Now I would like to introduce to you the commitment and efforts of Kitakyushu City. I will now be taking over the presentation. First, we would like to introduce the geographical characteristics of our city. Kitakyushu has many potentials, one of which is its geographical advantages. Our city is located right between Tokyo and Shanghai. Due to its geographical proximity to Taiwan and other Asian countries, it has developed as a transportation hub since ancient times. Furthermore, Kitakyushu is also characterized by its abundant water resources and by the fact that it experiences few earthquakes when compared to other large cities in Japan, such as Tokyo, Nagoya, and Osaka. By taking advantage of these potentials, we are consolidating headquarters, data centers, etc., currently concentrated in the Tokyo metropolitan area by having them relocate their data and information to our city. That way, their information and data may be preserved in the face of natural disasters or other crises. These are some of the ways we are committed ourselves to attract more companies to our city under this backup capital city concept. We aim to be a city of choice for businesses, young people in their prime, and for those raising children. Next, I would like to introduce the history of overcoming pollution in Kitakyushu City. Since the establishment of the government-run Yawata Steelworks, now Nippon Steel Corporation, in 1901, our city had developed as one of the leading industrial cities in Japan. However, this rapid development of industry resulted in severe environmental problems, including air and sea pollution. The city had experienced this ash-filled skies, covered with smoke and a sea of death, where no aquatic creatures were able to live. The first action against this pollution was taken by our citizens, specifically the Women's Association, a civic organization of housewives and women. This action was the starting point, and soon after, citizens, businesses, and our city government worked together to reduce air and water pollution. This led to the city of Kitakyushu to overcome its pollution roughly 20 years later. However, the city is still committed to further developing techniques and methods to overcome pollution. By taking advantage of technology and know-how accumulated while overcoming pollution, the city of Kitakyushu has been committed to international cooperation for environmental improvement, particularly in Asia. Kitakyushu International Techno-Cooperative Association, KITA, was established for providing training on technical cooperation and human resource development. KITA has been dispatching experts and accepting trainees in a wide range of fields, including the environment, water supply, and sewage systems. In the environmental field, KITA has accepted a total of more than 10,000 trainees in the last 40 years. The experience and technology capabilities of overcoming pollution helps not only Asian countries, but also other countries that are suffering from similar pollution problems. By providing technological cooperation, we have contributed to their development. The environmental efforts of Kitakyushu City have been highly evaluated by both domestic sides and international. In 1990, we received the Global 500 Award from the UNEP, a subsidiary agency of the United Nations, and in 2011, we were selected by the OECD as the first green growth city in Asia. Furthermore, the city was selected by the OECD as an SDG's pilot model city in 2018. The EcoTown project is a project to convert all waste from one industry to new raw materials for other industries. Launched in 1997 by the Japanese government, this project aims to reduce all types of waste to zero and promote the development of an advanced, environmental-friendly city. The city of Kitakyushu has a long-standing industrial base and technological strength as a manufacturing town. Utilizing the city's human resources, technology, and know-how cultivated in the process of overcoming pollution, we have pursued the goal of becoming a resource recycling society. We have set a unique regional policy that integrates environmental conservation policy and industrial restoration. The Kitakyushu EcoTown project was certified by the national government in July of 1997, and we have a strong commitment to this project ever since. Since then, there has been a strong consolidation of cutting-edge businesses in our city, 25 companies, 27 projects as of June 2024, including businesses that deal with recycling of PET bottles, home appliances, and automobiles, as well as the recycling of clothing, manufactured polyester, small home appliances, secondary batteries for automobiles, and solar panels. The cumulative total of direct investment to date is 90 billion yen, with approximately 1,000 employees as of March 2024. The city of Kitakyushu has accumulated major technologies that would implement capability between economy and environment during the process of overcoming pollution. These include reviewing materials and product positions, cleaner production through energy and resource conservation, technologies that led to significant reduction in pollutants and waste in production processes, and the reduction in production costs, as well as the end-of-pipe technologies that reduce pollutant emissions by using dust collectors and wastewater treatment facilities, as well as recycling and waste treatment technology. In addition, because of energy has been consumed in large quantities in the steel industry, technology has been accumulated to effectively manage it. Technology for the water business, including water supply and sewage treatment, has also been developed. In August of last year, Kitakyushu's continued efforts to overcome pollution and become a sustainable city were recognized by the Taiwan Institute for Sustainable Energy. The city of Kitakyushu won the Outstanding City Prize in the Most Livable Sustainable City Award category of the 2024 Asia-Pacific Sustainable Action Awards. It was the first time that the prize was given to an overseas municipality. The city of Kitakyushu, Taipei City, and Taichung City in Taiwan were nominated for the top award out of 8 municipalities that applied. Kitakyushu was selected and received the best rating of the 3 cities. At the award ceremony, the deputy mayor of Kitakyushu City attended and gave a presentation on the city's initiatives. We also had a booth at a concurrent exposition. The deputy minister of the Taiwanese Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the deputy minister of the Taiwanese Ministry of Health and Welfare visited our booth. It was a great opportunity for us to promote our initiatives and the potentials of the city of Kitakyushu. Thank you again for such an opportunity. Since the winning of the award last August, the city of Kitakyushu has become even more determined to take another step forward towards becoming a world-leading sustainable city. The fact that Kitakyushu is an environmentally advanced city is something the citizens of Kitakyushu are proud of, and something that defines our identity. While making the most of this solid base, we are also paying attention to the current situation and trends in the world, and have just started to kick off our efforts to become a multifaceted sustainable city that not only focuses on the environment, but also considers the local community and society as a whole. Next, I would like to introduce the city of Kitakyushu's strategy to becoming a more sustainable city. While making the most of our legacy of balancing environment and the economy, the city of Kitakyushu has built up to date, we are also working to stimulate the power of the citizens, especially focusing on young people. At the same time, we will promote advanced environmental initiatives such as a circular economy and energy. If young people see a sustainable city as cool and attractive, we are sure that they will start to take advantage of this and move toward the city. These activities will become visible to the whole city and the citizens and visitors from abroad. Such initiatives by the city of Kitakyushu will attract attention from abroad and establish the city as a sustainable city. Then it will attract investments from both Japanese and overseas and lead to a positive cycle of urban growth and citizen happiness. Seeing these changes in the city of Kitakyushu, we hope that young people will take pride in their city and become more active in society. This will in turn further increase the city's sustainability and create a virtuous cycle. By making use of Kitakyushu's legacy and strengths, we will establish a sustainable city that is unique to Kitakyushu. We will also be able to contribute to the resolution of social issues in Asia and around the world. We have the confidence to elevate the city of Kitakyushu to a status of a world-leading sustainable city. Finally, we would like to introduce some of the recent initiatives for local consumption and local circulation of plastics. In Kitakyushu, we implement a comprehensive collection project of plastic resources. The city collects plastic waste generated in the homes as a resource in order to promote the reduction and recycling of household waste. In February of this year, such plastics were recycled and commercialized as drawers for classroom desks for elementary school students. This initiative, in which plastic waste sorted by citizens of Kitakyushu is recycled, commercialized, and then sold within the city, and then returned to the lives of citizens, it is the first of its kind in Japan. This initiative was made possible by the combined efforts of three factors: the environmental efforts of citizens of Kitakyushu who were willing to sort their plastic waste, the advanced technological compatibilities of these companies in Kitakyushu, and the desire of these companies to expand the range of environmentally friendly products. We want many children and students in our city to learn that sorted plastic can be recycled into familiar products. We also wish to spread this kind of recycling cycle from Kitakyushu to around the world. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tatushiro Takiguchi, for your enlightening talk, and the translation by Mr. Rishab Bhatnagar. Very good translation. We were all impressed. I happen to be the judge for the Livable Cities Award, and I've read the proposal of Kitakyushu. It was a very inspiring proposal. The next speaker is Ms. Denise Lee, and the title of her talk is Skyborn, the Guardian of Black-Faced Spoonbills. And we really look forward to Ms. Lee's talk. Please help me welcome Ms. Lee digitally, and we look forward to your talk.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's a true pleasure and honor to be invited to speak at the Asia-Pacific SDG Summit. I'm Denise Lee, Public Affairs and Communication Manager at Skyborn Renewables, where I lead ESG strategy and external communications. As last year, Skyborn represented, let me open let me just open our, this one. Okay. Last year, Skyborn represented Yunlin Offshore Wind Farm to be recognized with 2 Sustainability Action Awards with our initiative, The Guardian of Black-Faced Spoonbills. So today, through this important platform, I'd like to introduce Skyborn and share with you why and how we are carrying out the Black-Faced Spoonbill projects, as well as the value this program brings to biodiversity. So to begin with, Skyborn Renewables is a global offshore wind developer. We have been pioneering the development of offshore wind projects since 2000, so we have more than 20 years experience with home market in Germany, our headquarters at Hamburg, and Skyborn is a portfolio company of GIP. GIP's headquarters is located in New York City of United States. And now we are currently working on a global pipeline of more than 20 gigawatts in various stages of development across US, Europe, and Asia-Pacific. Our flagship project, also, Skyborn's first operational project in Asia-Pacific is in Taiwan, which is here, Yunlin Offshore Wind Farm. So if we take a closer look, Yunlin Offshore Wind Farm located in the Taiwan Strait. From now on, it generates green electricity of 2,400 gigawatts hour every year into the Taiwanese grid. So if, like me, you are a mother, you will be very, very moved by the chance to offer Taiwan's next generation a cleaner future. Why I say so? Now let's take you into the offshore wind farm to experience firsthand the achievement behind the project. If you can hear the voice, please let me know.
Welcome to the Yunlin Offshore Wind Farm, a landmark project for Taiwan's clean energy transition, which delivers lasting value. Located off the coast of Yunlin County, the 640 megawatt offshore wind farm powers 600,000 households, while saving 1,200,000 tons of CO2 per year. We also focused on localization by teaming up with leading Taiwanese manufacturers like Formosa Heavy Industries and CTCI Machinery. The Yunlin Offshore Wind Farm is also a frontrunner in protecting the environment and supporting local communities. Hereby, the black-faced spoon-billed satellite tracking program is the most outstanding initiative. This 4-year program has generated the world's largest black-faced spoonbill migration database. We work closely with fishery associations and local universities to minimize the impact on the ecosystem. The Yunlin Offshore Wind Farm stands as an example of collective efforts, resilience, and commitment. Together, we are powering a brighter, a cleaner, and a more sustainable future for Taiwan.
So in the video, you saw some of our sustainability projects. Based on the Equator Principles and in compliance with local environmental regulations, we have developed 2 biodiversity initiatives, both focus on endangered species. So first, the Taiwan white dolphin on the left side of the screen you can see, and the black-faced spoonbill or BFS on the right side of the screen. And BFS is at the heart of today's story. In 2021, we launched Black-Faced Spoonbill Satellite Tracking Program. And you can see this beautiful spoonbill with its snow white feathers and a very long mouth shaped like a spoon. So to begin with, Platia minor is his scientific name. And in Taiwanese, we call it Omin Lapue. It's one of the most iconic migrating birds in Taiwan. And generally speaking, spoonbills comprise 6 species around the world. And black-faced spoonbill has the most restricted distribution and fewest in number. In the 1990s, fewer than 300 of BFS in the world. So until now, it's still considered as an endangered species by the international organization. And the BFS travel from Siberia to Vietnam, and Taiwan is their largest habitat during winter. Over 60% of the spoonbills, they will visit Taiwan during the winter. And we aim to understand the relationship between the wind farm and bird ecology. So we launched 4 behavior studies, include first, daytime and nighttime habitat distribution, and second, their flyways across the sea, and third, their relationship between migration and spoonbill ages. The fourth, whether they will have the avoidance behavior at different types of wind farms. And our team, you can see, our research team is led by Professor Sun Yuanxun from National Pingtung University of Science and Technology. Professor Sun's bird ecology lab is now in its 8th year and is internationally recognized. And our methodology, first, collect rehabilitated and trapped BFS from Jiayi and Tainan City of Taiwan. And second, the most importantly, attach the latest solar power GPS tracking devices on spoonbills. You can see from the screen our method and devices must be animal friendly. First, the weight of the tracker is less than 3% of the spoonbill's body weight, so no interference for their flying. Second, the device has better accuracy than the past. It got automatic 3G, 4G transmission function, so the data sent back is accurate and real time. Third, the battery can last 1 to 2 years, making 24 hours all day and long-term tracing possible. So this is very, very important because in the past, traditional observation methods were relying on daytime with sunlight and relying on people's eyes to watch their flight paths, which unfortunately lack spoonbill's data on their nighttime activity patterns. Third, release the birds with GPS trackers secured with a strap on their backs. And then second part of the methodology, our team will collect all GPS data, including their flight paths, traveling speed, and altitude. Then use the GIS to identify their activity spots. And they don't stop at this point. Furthermore, if they find newly discovered activity spots, the team will do field research. They will really go there and confirm with their eyes on spoonbill's activity in the area. Now we can have a look on the team did. Hope you enjoy it. And now, final part on our research findings. Firstly, this 4-year program has achieved groundbreaking understanding of black-faced spoonbill's habitat. So far, the team has identified 10 new hotspots of spoonbills. So from the map on the screen, you can see these 10 white dots. And these newfound spots have been very important for Taiwan's protection and NGO groups patrolling work. Secondly, this program has created the world's largest database on BFS, both on spoonbill's migration routes and flight behaviors. As you can see from the graph, we have about, so far, 103, so more than 100 flyways of the black-faced spoonbills. And we share our data with key associations in Taiwan and Asia-Pacific for them to improve their spoonbill rescuing and protection activities. And last, what values we have created for biodiversity. You can see we re-identify their habitat, which is very, very interesting. For example, last year, the team found spoonbill will actually use typhoon and ride with typhoon to speed up their return to Taiwan. This discovery even excited the Academia Sinica 中央研究院 in Taiwan, sparking a lot of discussions. And second, by protecting habitat of BFS, a so-called umbrella species, we also at the same time protect the flora and fauna of the same wetlands ecosystem, such as significantly enhancing the ecology of 4 key wetlands in Tainan throughout this project. And also, since 2021, we provide our GPS data every year to Taiwan BFS Conservation Association, which works with 12 other Asia-Pacific countries, including South Korea, China, Japan. In other words, this program connects global efforts together. So in conclusion, today BFS population has grown from 300 to 6,900, so almost 20 times. We understand there's a lot of people's efforts to reach today's great results, and Skyborn feels honored to be part of this journey. Thank you very much for your listening. We look forward to your feedback. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Denise Lee, for your inspiring presentation. And thank you on behalf of all the black-faced spoonbills for your great conservation efforts. I would like to remind everyone watching right now or listening, I don't know, maybe you're listening or watching, but if you have any questions for the speakers, please use the chat function and I might pick your question during the Q&A. Now we arrived at the fourth speaker for today, last but not least, Mr. Donald Eubank. And Mr. Eubank will give a speech entitled Here to Stay, Sustainability Trends in Asia. Mr. Eubank, the floor is yours. Please help me welcome Mr. Eubank to our summit. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Dr. And thank you, Ambassador Chen and Carlene for inviting me today to the APSSS forum. I will share my screen with you all. Hey, so I'm Donald Eubank. I am the principal and co-founder of Read the Air, which is a sustainable business advisory firm based in Tokyo and working across Asia. I'm also partners with Climate Finance Asia, which works on sustainable finance, especially with looking at sustainability labeled bonds. They're out of Hong Kong and Tokyo. So I wanted to start with the big picture, which is that sustainability is in the tent now. So it's here to stay. And this is from the old saying that, you know, if it's a cold night and if you allow your camel to get its nose inside the tent, soon the whole body of the camel will be in the tent. And I believe that's where we are with sustainability. It started small, but we're at the point where the structures around it are so well developed that it's not going to go away. I'm an American by origin, and whatever political situation is happening there, I don't think it's going to reverse the direction that Asia is going, that Europe is going. So companies today should be continuing to prepare to deal with new regulations that are coming in, new investor expectations. I think we've already seen some great examples today with the other speakers. We see that leading companies are responding with new strategies, new internal policies. And those that take actions now, they will have a competitive advantage in the long run. So I'll talk about some specific things that are happening, and then I'll come back with the final sort of justification for that confidence that sustainability is here to stay. So the first big development that I think that most listed companies of certain size will be experiencing is the requirement to disclose about their ESG performance. But those disclosures are more important than what they require the primary companies that have to make them, because always in sustainability, the supply chain is sort of the most important aspect of your ability to improve your performance on sustainability. So the EU's CSRD, which is about European companies or foreign companies operating in Europe disclosing, that will have impact on companies in terms of how they look at their supply chain. I have some examples, some mini case studies here on the side. Uniqlo is tightening its supplier screening to meet the EU expectations. Samsung has an audit process for ESG compliance with its suppliers. These are kinds of things that companies that have to respond to CSRD are doing in terms of their supply chain. And then even more directly, the EU Corporate Sustainability Due Diligence Directive requires companies to talk about labor rights and other human rights issues in their supply chain. So generally speaking, we're seeing that these EU regulations on disclosure are having major impact on human rights, labor rights, environmental performance, and governance. Very specifically within disclosure, this is starting to include Scope 3 carbon profile disclosure. Okay, so before the disclosure was focused more on Scope 1 and Scope 2, your own emissions and your purchased energy, but now you have to again look at your supply chain and see where your emissions are being embedded in your final product or your final service that you're offering your customers. So Japan, Singapore, and Australia, they're either aligning with disclosure principles such as ISSB, the International Sustainability Standards Board, or they're creating disclosure expectations with their indexes, such as the SGX in Singapore, that companies include Scope 3 emissions in their disclosures. They're not going to expect it to be perfect at the start. You start with what you can actually look at, which has always been the way with Scope 3, but over time you can expect that to expand even further. So this is something to be aware of if you are part of a supply chain for bigger companies. To go further into discussion of emissions, greenhouse gas emissions, there are carbon pricing policies that will have an impact on companies. The United Nations has some recommendations that I recommend taking a look at to understand how to reduce emissions, generally speaking. But in terms of specific policies that could impact any company that does business with the EU, there's the carbon border, the carbon border adjustment mechanism that looks for certain types of products at the embedded carbon within them. And if the carbon has not already had to pay a price, they will add a price on top of that. There's the Singapore carbon tax, which I will discuss a little more, but I think is a kind of leading indicator for the direction that Asia can go in terms of pricing. And Japan has launched its GX League and is starting the carbon trading emissions market that will develop soon. So for Singapore, right now the price is $5. I think in the next couple of years we can see it go up to 25 and then 45. And then by 2030, they're targeting it to rise to 50 to 80. So this is an extra burden that will be on the cost of products that have not found a way to reduce emissions by either changing processes or sourcing renewable energy. So speaking of renewable energy, there's new policies on a national level to drive the build out of renewables. The China's 14th five-year plan, as well as India's national solar mission, Japan's green growth strategy, and South Korea's Green New Deal. They all support capacity building in renewable energy. But I wanted to look at TSMC, a Taiwanese company, because I think that the effect that they are having in Japan with the construction and the launch of their new facility in Kumamoto in Kyushu is a very interesting case here. They are such a large consumer of energy. They have made a commitment that all of their facilities going forward will be 100% renewable. And what that essentially does is drive a new source of demand in Japan for renewable energy suppliers, creating greater confidence in the market among developers that there will be off-takers. And I can say that being in Tokyo and looking at the Japanese market, a lot of companies that have made renewable energy 100 commitments are struggling to source power purchase agreements or PPAs that give them the access to renewable energy that they need. An example like this where a company is committed to it and been able to source renewable energy is a great indicator. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about what happens when these renewables come into place as well. You know, one thing that is very important in Asia is that at the same time that companies are trying to become more sustainable is that we start to phase out coal-fired power plants. and Asia is a hotbed for coal-fired plants right now. There's supplies, there's existing facilities that still have a lifetime ahead of them, and there are organizations that are trying to find ways to accelerate the decommissioning of these coal-fired power plants. In particular, there's an energy transition mechanism. Actually, let me go back. The Singapore Monetary Authority, alongside Rocky Mountain Institute (RMI) and Gen Zero, which is a Temasek-based fund, along with some other partners, are trying to develop transition credits, which they call traction, so that by selling credits based on the emissions that are reduced by shutting down a coal plant, let's say 10 years early, they can actually justify the cost of shutting it down before its natural lifeline. But there's something else interesting that's happening here when you look at a coal-fired power plant, which is a major employer in many of the communities that it exists. Based on the Paris Agreement preamble, which says that the energy transition must be accompanied by a just transition, banks and investors and facility owners are trying to embed just transition plans into any plans for phasing out coal-fired power plants. And so basically what you have here is a meeting between social factors and environmental factors. For example, if you take a bank may have adopted a policy that says that it needs to support increased renewable energies and decrease the financing that it provides for coal or other fossil fuels, but they do not have a social policy to guide that energy transition policy yet. So now we're looking at facility level just transition guidelines. This is a working group that I supported to actually help banks when they provide financing to borrowers to make sure that the workforce is upskilled, reskilled, provided with new work, or if the time is correct, provided with a severance or a retirement package, that the communities that depend on the operation of that facility for economic stability have new opportunities made available to them, and other aspects of what a just transition would be. So I'm just going to go quickly through a couple other examples here. I'm not going to talk about them deeply, but just to show all these other trends that are coming around based on policies and disclosure. There's the new nature-related task force for nature-related financial disclosure, which is supporting companies that depend more on natural resources to start to talk about the risks that they could experience given if their sources are cut off due to climate change impacts, and to discuss the strategies that they're having to avoid that. Circular economy, there are many policies around Asia around circular economy. Any company that's involved with manufacturing should be looking at these to remain competitive. Plastic treaties that are being led by the UN they're spurring innovation in packaging and in the use of plastics by companies in the fast-moving consumer goods areas that depend on these things. So I just want to wrap it up with why I believe that this is something that is here to stay. And it's always going back to investors. I think that policymakers are incredibly important, but investors are interesting because investors want to grow their capital and they want to preserve their capital over time. And I did a little just sort of brief research here on how much of the global stock market is based on funds from pension funds. And as you can see here from this simple chart, it's over 50%. Now, the thing about a pension fund is it's very interesting. It's what's considered a universal owner. And a universal owner is that they're not managing their own money, they're managing your money. So their responsibility is not to themselves, but to you. And that means that they are focused on a much longer time frame. They're not looking at next quarter, they're looking 25 years out from now, they're looking 50 years out from now, when they have to return the capital that you paid in as a pensioner. And they should give you more if possible. So they have a longer time frame. And because they're so big generally, they don't own one company in the industry. They own all of them. So they want them all to do well. All of these things combine to them looking at a longer time frame. And when they engage with companies or when they engage with governments or international organizations, they are asking them, will this capital be experiencing any risks due to climate change in the short term and in the long term? And if they believe that there's a danger, they're going to be asking companies and policymakers to take action to change. So all of these trends that I've talked about today, I think that they're going a certain direction that is irreversible, and that companies that take advantage of the opportunity to be ahead of the curve, to start to put strategies in place, will become the most competitive in their markets looking forward to the next 10 years or the next 20 years. I'll stop it there, and I look forward to the Q&A session. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eubank, for your very enlightening talk. Okay, so it's now time for the Q&A session. So we will be asking some questions on your behalf, the audience behalf, and we can maybe identify who could answer the question. So maybe the first question is for Mr. Eubank. Mr. Eubank, do you happen to know, has the UN announced their follow-up plan after the SDGs in 2030? And maybe perhaps to follow up, what do you expect will happen after 2030 in terms of the SDGs and any follow-up plans that might come?
Yeah, I have to say, personally, it seems very little about what happens after the 2030 headline. But what I could expect is they're going to start to identify gaps within the 17 goals, start to propose more ways to advance different aspects of the goals themselves, as well as they need to sort of reshift the focus, right, the sense of what's a priority and what's not. That's my short answer.
And do you think we're gonna make the SDGs? What is your? I mean, we have five more years to go. How optimistic or pessimistic should we be?
I would love to be optimistic. The easy answer is to be a little bit pessimistic. I don't think the funding is there. I wanted in my presentation to show that things are definitely moving forward, as frustrating as it can be, but I still don't feel that they're moving fast enough.
So maybe your takeaway is we need to move faster. We are not at the...
What was my takeaway?
Okay. This is more like a comment, but this is aimed at Ms. Renee Huang. Primar Yar de Leza says they also have windmills just like in Pilia Rizal, I guess that's in the Philippines. We do not have sophisticated and high-end equipment. Perhaps the question would be, are you thinking about cooperation with countries like the Philippines in renewable energy development, and do you have projects there in that sense?
We think it's for technical issues will be our biggest problem. We generated green power in Philippines, but how to transform the electricity from Philippines to Taiwan? Because if you want to build a long cable, it's there is a lot of risk, and it's not actually efficient to build such a long cable. So if the trend and there will be some miss and loss of electricity during the transforming. So probably it's not it's a very good thought, but it's not, maybe it's not good to or our techniques is not good to execute by now.
Thank you so much. We're waiting for questions at the Q&A, so if anyone has questions, please let me know. But perhaps a question for Mr. Takiguchi of the city of Kitakyushu. To what extent do the Sustainable Development Goals guide the urban planning of Kita-Kyushu? Is that something that you have streamlined in your urban planning? Is that something that goes across different sectors within the city's respective departments?
北九州市、北九州市ではサステナブルな取り組みところで、幅広く取り組みを行っております。
Kita-Kyushu City takes into account on a wide range of activities regarding SDGs.
そうした中で企業活動、我々民間の行政の活動ありますけれども、民間の活動を支えるというところでは行政我々が支えるというところありますけれども、そこに銀行というところも入ってまして、官民力を合わせてですねさまざまな取り組みをやっているというのが現状になっております。
Without going into too much details, we actually do pride ourselves in the fact that SDGs in our city reach both the private and public sectors. For example, even banks are also included in sometimes in regards to the SDGs initiatives that go on in our city.
本日も紹介したけれども、取り組みありましたけれども、非常にサステナブルな取り組みに通じる民間の力というところがですね、今行政だけではなくて民間で行える活動というところでも注目される部分だと思っています。
And as we had mentioned previously in our presentation, the goal for our SDGs initiatives is not just to be run by the city, but rather to be led by the civilians of our city, and that is our major goal for the SDGs projects, to be led by civilians and not by the government.
なかなか行政だけではできませんので、民間の投資も呼び込みながらですね、一緒にやっていくというのが今後広がりが出せるところではないかなというふうに思います。
By incorporating the civilians and not just the government officials in the SDGs initiatives, we feel that it will be able to, our SDGs goals would be able to further progress even much further.
Thank you so much for answering the question. That shows how important it is on how SDGs on one hand is a global program, but it requires very local as well as individual actions. I just realized Ms. Huang and Mr. Eubank have the same background, so that's quite interesting. I don't know if that's a coincidence. So I have a question for Ms. Lee. You are focusing, of course, on the conservation of the black-faced spoonbills, and I guess birds don't know borders, right? It's a transboundary issue, a trans-border issue that you are facing. So how do you cope with that? Working on, different levels and different governments and in different geographical areas. Do you have some insights about that?
You are right. It's actually a very international program on spoonbills, and actually there are a lot of fronts doing the research on spoonbills. So now we can only focus on what the data we've got. So we have very close cooperation with Dr. Sun Yuanxun, and then he will do the data and then translate it and share it with other organizations. But we must say, the main attitude for us is to be open. We actually very open to share with our data for free to not only the Asia-Pacific countries, also we share our data with our offshore wind developers, which is not very easy, I think, for a lot of developers. Yeah, but because we really want to protect the spoonbills together. So I think our main attitude is just to be open and then connect as many as organizations together to do it. So that's my answer.
Thank you so much. So if I understand it correctly, it's also very much about transparency in data, data sharing, Would you say that would be the way forward for, because sustainability is all about transboundary issues, right? Like it does not stop within a country. So what would be your take-home message? Like what would you say would be the way forward from your specific example?
At the moment, actually, we are still working on the research. So I think our team are still collecting data, and we are actually very conscious and very careful about our methodology is right. So I think we just focus on our work very professionally, and the others, I think we are welcome. If you are from Philippines or you are from Vietnam, I think we are very welcome to connect with us. And I think no boundary, because as you say, spoonbill will fly over the Asia, and no problem for us to share the data. But again, we are still very conscious on what data we've collected. And we also plan maybe a conference. If the timing is right, we will have a conference to share our final findings with all the NGOs and all Asia-Pacific countries together.
Excellent. And we look forward to hearing more about that conference. So our watchers, please keep in touch with Ms. Lee as well as other speakers. So maybe a question for Ms. Huang. I mean, I'm a geographer, so I really care about land issues. I really think about land, perhaps land conflicts or land development. So just from your experience, I don't know if you are able to share some, but do you cooperate with local farmers, with local communities? How do you balance between, on one hand, development of area for renewable energy, and on the other hand, working with local communities or local people or local farmers?
Okay, as the materials I just shared, we built the project on like ground-mounted project. So before that, we have to do a lot of stakeholder engagement in the permit process. So we have to do a lot of meetings or small gatherings or like a seminar to communicate with local residents to see what they really cares. What they really want to coexist with the project. So from that process, we learned that they care about the environment. Such as in the process, we maintain the project. What kind of water we use to wash our modules? They are afraid if the water is not water, it's not pure water. It's that maybe some acid, liquid. But we will explain. We just use pure water to wash our modules, so it won't pollute their lands when we are do the maintenance. So they care about if after 20 years what the project will be. So we will explain to them. We actually pay for the fees for the government to take care to deal with the modules if after 20 years, and we cooperate with some other research institute to do to develop how to recycle the modules when maybe after 20 years the project will be exist, and we will do a recycle process for all the modules. So if we really know what stakeholders care, and we will know how we'll do and how we'll manage the issues that in our 20 years maintenance.
Thank you so much. And local stakeholder involvement is of course very important, and like what you just mentioned, sometimes local people care about very specific issues that are very important to address, like the kind of water you use in order to avoid pollution. So maybe my final question would be to Mr. Eubank. You started your talk saying you are an American based in Asia. Considering changing geopolitics in the world and changing, well, increasing challenges in relation to sustainable development and the SDGs. Where do you see us heading for the next 4 years?
You asked the big question.
Well, I couldn't resist,
So,
yeah.
You know, I focus first on the scientists, right? I think that the next iteration of the UNFCCC reporting on the state of climate change is not going to change because of politics, right? So the facts on change. And then the question is just how are we going to respond to it? And maybe by different countries, there'll be different types of responses. But for the longest time, I think we've seen Europe as the leader on this. And I don't imagine the EU changing its direction. And I think the EU has a very good relationship with Asia. And Asia has such a fundamental role to play in the economic system, global economic system right now as a supplier, that relationship, you know, as well as others that exist out there, is going to continue to drive sustainability, regardless of whatever happens internally in the US. In a sense, you may see a sort of decoupling in the same way that there's a decoupling of trade or of alliances around sustainability. But I think the major force is going to continue going forward. There, I will be optimistic for you.
Well, I guess it's good to end today's Q&A with an optimistic take-home message. But yeah, I mean, political will is such an important driver of sustainability. Without political will, it's going to be a gloomy world. But you started, well, you have an optimistic take-home message, so I would like to end with that. Mm-hmm.
Let me just, I'll get you a little more optimistic. Now, I've heard this in other fields. This is an opportunity for us or a sector to step in to lead the direction of decarbonization. So, you know, things may change, but the new partners.
Thank you so much, Mr. Eubank, and thank you so much for all the distinguished speakers today. We learned a lot, and I see a lot of parallels, as well as interesting insights, whether it's Kitakyushu or whether it's about preserving the black-faced spoonbills. I think it's all admirable what you are doing, and please continue your good work forward. With that, I would like to conclude the Q&A session, and I would like to give the floor back to my colleague, Ms. Tai, in the closing remarks.
Great. Well, thank you so much to all, to our wonderful panel of speakers and our past APSAA award winners, to our wonderful moderator, Dr. Bayrek, right by me right now, and of course, our attendees coming from far and wide. It's really been an inspiring evening and a great event. And the stories that we heard today truly prove that sustainable change is not only possible, but it's happening right now because of people like you. So as we close, let's take some time to learn about and reflect on these new ideas that we've gained, new connections, and renewed energy to act. I also want to mention that your feedback is invaluable, and on the next slide, as we close, there will be a QR code. So please scan the QR code to let us know what inspired you today and also how we can improve for next year. So we can't wait to see your APSAA applications and also welcome you to Taipei at the SDG Expo this September. Thank you so much again for being part of today's journey and summit. Let's keep learning, collaborating, and leading the way for a more sustainable future. Thank you all.